Life is hard, but it could be worse. Life is hard, but it could be worse. Life is hard, but it could be worse.
I knew there was a reason I recorded
Life
this.
is hard,
Yeah, but don't you want to mix that in
but
afterward?
it could
Sure.
be worse.
But we're not doing anything
Life
now
is
that we would
hard.
be doing anyway. And I
could
could
be
slide
worse.
it all around, so we could keep this.
Life is hard, but it could be worse.
Fix it in
Life is
post.
hard,
Well, I'm just thinking that
but
like
it
it's
could be worse.
playing in my head, and
Life is hard.
I'm trying to remember what was hard about life when I said that.
Everything is hard about life.
Well, it can be. Getting out of bed in the morning sometimes be the biggest challenge of my day.
But it could be worse.
Well, yeah, I could not have a bed.
You could be sleeping outside.
Yeah, sometimes that could be worse.
Sometimes it could be better. Like if you're camping.
Yeah. No, camping is great. It's even better when you come home.
I like camping. In a 5-star hotel with room service.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah. I've never experienced camping that way, but that would be my mode of camping.
When I worked for IBM, I used to stay in a lot of nice hotels. I never spent enough time there to be like, oh, this is great. You know, I'd come in exhausted, take a shower, go to bed, set an alarm to get up 4 hours later and haul ass out and leave before the break of day. It was just like, why am I paying $140? This was 20 years ago. But why am I paying $140 a room when I'm not even going to get to be there for more than a couple hours?
Yeah.
I could have slept on the street and probably wouldn't have noticed.
Or in your car.
I did that a few times, but not while I was working for IBM.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are not necessarily those of IBM.
Or those of me, for that matter. I mean,
Right. Or us.
I could be making this stuff up. I'm not Donald Trump. I don't just.
What is that?
I don't just say how I feel. Oh, the critters outside.
Is that what that was?
Yeah,
Sounded
it
like
was
a
something.
duck or something.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Apparently we're still recording.
Usually we have frogs that get really noisy after we've had some rain. They're mating. They're trying to call for a mate. You cannot blame any male of any species for trying to find a mate. It's never easy, and the bitches are always picky.
Send your hate mail to
yeah. I need a special email address for this podcast. Podcast at wedon'treallycare.com.
lifeishard. Lifeishard.com.
Hey, don't say that because we
I wonder if that's
you
taken.
gave it away. Now someone just went and registered that.
Nobody heard it yet. We're just recording.
You don't say that.
What, we don't pretend like it's not live?
Right.
Or we're pretending to be live?
Yeah, we're live. What are you talking? Of course we're live. What do you think all this expensive equipment around you is for? We are broadcasting.
We are broadcasting on tape delay in case we say something we shouldn't.
Yeah. In case we give away company secrets.
Yes, your domain is available. Buy it before someone else does. Lifeishard.com auction current bid $250,000.
There's an auction? For real?
Lifeishard.com. It says it's an auction for $250,000 is the current bid.
So somebody already had it. Somebody bought it and they're just selling it. If it was actually available, then you would only pay the regular price for it.
Screw it. We'll get lifeishard.us.
Or there's a bunch of them now. Lifeishard.rocks.
Life is Hard rocks.
Yeah, exactly. Life is Hard tips is fine too. I mean, we could give tips about Life is Hard. Not photos though.
Lifeishard.email?
Yeah, if it was just an email thing.
I didn't even know you could have these extensions. .club.
They've added, there's even more than that. And I've blocked most of them on my mail server because all they are is crap.
I think .us is the way to go. It's $4.
Well, that is pretty cheap now that you mention it. Huh.
And it's .us.
Yeah.
So it could be taken like for USA, woo woo, or Life is Hard for us. It's a hard knock life. .us.
I'm nodding.
Yeah.
You can't hear that on the microphone.
No, you can't.
I need to have more rocks in my head that are loose So
Just occurred to me though that you could do it's a hard knock life.us.
I don't know. The
you can advertise.
Life is Hard Club would be fun. You know, we have the Life is Hard Club.
Yes, we could start the Life is Hard Club.
Is that expensive? Yeah, $10. Well, it's not bad. I mean,
That's not ridiculous.
Nominal. Not for a year. I mean, it's less than $1 a month. Even we
It's
might
cheaper than lifeishard.rocks.
You know what we could do? We could get one of them. Oh, what are they called? Everybody, Patreon. We get a Patreon account. Get people to help pay for our domain.
I have no idea what that is.
When you have a podcast, you don't necessarily have to, but a lot of the podcasters have Patreon accounts, and that's for your what's the word?
Patrons?
Patrons, yeah. And they pay you per podcast. You set it up to where they pay you $5 per podcast or whatever, or whatever the price is.
That's crazy. I don't want people to have to pay for the podcast. I want them to download it for free.
Well,
Share it with their friends.
They do download it for free, and everybody gets to see it for free. But the Patreon is for people that support you. Oh. It's only for people that support you. The people that may choose, they may opt to go pay you to make podcasts.
Oh.
Or I know a lot of YouTubers use that if they're really good and they've got people that are, and then they reference at the end of their movie it says I've got these top 10 people. These are my top 10 supporters.
Gotcha.
And I wouldn't.
So then we're going to be beholden to the people that pay us to podcast to say what they want us to say.
Oh my gosh, there was some alliteration in there, some heavy alliteration. Alliteration just kind of messes with my brain.
It happens sometimes.
Yeah. No, I don't think that we would be beholden to anybody because they can always cancel their subscription. It's just the idea that some people may really enjoy the podcast. And the people that do that, I think, are people who are professionally YouTubing or podcasting. They're doing a podcast that has a purpose, and they're actually...
We have a purpose.
Right, of course we do. But they're, maybe educating, maybe informing, some news podcast or something, and people want them to stay on the air, and they actually do this full time.
That would be fun.
Yeah, and they make money at it, and they make enough money at it, they don't have to have another job.
Yeah, I don't know how much money the guys that I listen to make, but they do one a week. Every once in a blue moon, for a special reason, they'll do a second one in a week.
We just had a blue moon.
There you go.
Well,
every blue moon, we will have a blue moon podcast.
I think that's fair.
A blue moon special edition, Life is Hard.
Under a blue moon.
Under a blue moon.
Life is hard under a blue moon. I mean, all kinds of weird things happen on July 31st or whatever date it comes out to be. It can't happen in February. You cannot have a blue moon in February.
Why? Because it's the second full moon of the month or something?
Yeah, and February's too short. Can't do it.
Is it in a calendar month?
Yeah.
Well, that's weird.
Yeah, because we always have 2 full moons in a 31-day period. It's just they don't fall in the same month. It takes a while. The full moon might be the 5th of the month, so the next one will be the...
I did not realize that was even what a blue moon was.
Mm-hmm. So, it didn't used to be. The term started with something different, and it got morphed. That's how these fucking things happen. I'm sorry, I can't say that on a podcast, can I?
Absolutely.
We'll have to bleep that out.
You don't have to bleep it out. That's the beauty of podcasts.
Good thing we got a delay.
There's no FCC or...
I don't talk like that.
Net neutrality.
I'm not a sailor. You're the sailor.
That's true. And I haven't cussed yet. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Exactly, I beat you to it. So now, what is this stuff you're telling me about Flat Earth people?
Well, first of all, if we're going to be a podcast, we have to, hey, welcome to the Life is Hard podcast. This is our premiere episode.
Right, and we have our theme song.
We do, which we played about 10 minutes ago, but we'll fix that in the edit.
Yeah, we had a theme song that we made like 2 or 3 years ago.
That we didn't even know was for the podcast, but it just works out.
Well, we've been talking
beautiful.
about this podcast for just about as long.
Right, but we didn't name it the Life is Hard podcast or set out to make that song because...
Right.
You didn't set out to make a song anyway. You were doing a mic check.
I couldn't make a song if my life depended on it.
You did. I auto-tuned your mic check and put music behind it.
I contributed some words to a song, but... All I know is if I had to make music for a living, I would starve to death.
Life is hard.
But it could be worse. It could definitely be worse.
Life is hard. And I used it to figure out how auto-tune works, even though technically it's not auto-tune.
Right,
It's
right.
Logic
Auto-tune
Pro's free alternative to
Auto-tune is
its
a
pitch
trademark.
correction.
We should probably mention that Auto-tune is a registered trademark, and it belongs to the company that registered it.
I'll let you worry about that stuff. They can sue me. If we're popular enough that auto-tune is suing me for saying auto-tune, then we're rich enough to hire lawyers to get us out of it.
So here we are. We're Fred and Barney. Oh, no, wait. Is that our names? No, we don't have names.
Our names can be whatever you want them to be.
I think they should be different in every podcast.
How about Betty and Wilma?
Okay, I'm Betty.
Why do you get to be Betty?
Okay, I'll be Wilma. Fine.
Why do you get to be Wilma? This is so unfair.
Who had bigger boobs?
I don't know.
Okay.
I never watched the
Seems
Flintstones
to me
for that.
It seems to me they didn't really have boobs to speak of. They were both kind of flat-chested. Because, back then
I
cartoons
don't remember that well.
Yeah, everybody was a little bit androgynous in cartoons back then. Well, except for Fred. I mean, Fred clearly was.
My coffee's banging. on
Yeah,
the table.
I think you need a softer coffee cup.
Yes, that's the solution. A softer cup. So, we need to get Life is Hard dot something.
Oh, you said it again.
I said what again? Life is hard?
Yeah.
But-
We can't do it on that machine.
Well, we don't have to do it right now, but it's
Yeah.
good to know it's out there.
Right. As long as we don't publish this podcast before we get it, because then we'll be. Well, we're not gonna. The point is, and I probably shouldn't say this in the podcast, but we need to get like 10 of these done before we even start. Otherwise, we're gonna fall behind.
We can edit that out.
Okay, good. But you gotta find it first. That's the problem.
Yeah, we're going to have to listen to this whole thing.
Oh my god.
We'll probably just get disgusted with ourselves and start over.
Which is fine.
Which is
I mean, you have
what
to
we
start
do.
with something, but that's why I want to have 10 of them done, because that way we won't have to worry about staying on a strict production schedule if somebody gets busy or the weather turns to shit. We get a blizzard or a hurricane.
No, okay. I'd still, yeah, I want them to be topical, though.
Well, yeah.
Maybe we'll just have like 10 in the can for
Well, we make a bunch.
emergencies.
We make a bunch. We keep them as long as we have to. I mean, like if we get one done for next week, then we use the one we just did for next week. And if we don't, we take one off the shelf.
That's what I'm saying, for
Yeah.
emergency purposes.
I don't call it an emergency. I just call it a poor production process. Sloppy scheduling. Lazy ass podcasters. But the thing is, I don't want the podcast to.
But life is hard. Things come up.
Yeah, they do. But I don't know if that can be used as an excuse in the real world.
It can on a Life is Hard podcast. Why else would we have a Life is Hard podcast if we cannot demonstrate
How difficult it is to get a podcast out.
or anything else? How difficult it is to not hear you kick the chair or...
Why are you? See, that's why
I was demonstrating how life is hard.
we could probably do away with this and just
Does that help at all?
use this. I don't know if it's helping, but that will probably insulate the mic a lot better from.
I hear stuff now.
Oh, stuff from behind it more.
No, I heard it trying to balance itself on the phone.
Microphones
Maybe it just
don't
took a minute.
try to balance themselves. It could be
That, yeah.
Yeah, what we need to do though is aside from
We can run your
unhooking-
cord on the other side of that.
Well, yeah, I just need to unhook me. But I'm still thinking actually the noise from that hard drive got louder when I took this away from behind it. I need to have like a little box. If we had a little booth for this,
Or just one of those, the little
just a
things
little-
that you could...
to shield it from all other noise other than what's in front of it, because we're in front of it and all that other crap's behind it.
They have podcasting microphones that... It's like a little ball. It's a large diaphragm one, but it's a little
the
ball
blue
inside of
ball
a
or
box. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like the blue something.
yeah.
But
It's actually inside of a box already.
I haven't seen one inside the box. I've just seen the blue thing. But I'm thinking though that it would still be cheaper to get the box than it would be to get the microphone in the box.
Probably.
And then of course the USB mic is going to ruin all of our fun. Because it's going to plug into the USB port and just record, so just digitize in the mic.
Gotcha.
So we don't get to compress, we don't get to play around with all the... Look at all those flashing lights we'll be missing out on. I mean, that is pretty.
I like it.
I'm thinking when
Makes
we do
me feel professional.
when we do a YouTube video, we need to just focus the camera on the mixer.
Not on us.
Well, no. I mean, we could be blurry in the foreground. The mixer would be sharp because that's much more interesting.
I want people to look at me.
Oh, well, okay. If you insist. I'll stay behind the
I
camera.
want to be recognizable and sign autographs in public. Unless they want to shoot me, then I don't want them to recognize me.
I'll be the off-camera guy who always makes snide remarks from the, there's got the guy who's the production guy. So, what do you think of this, production guy? He's like, oh, and he's kind of like talking from behind the mic, like, well, I think, personally, I never wear underwear.
Because production guys never wear underwear.
I don't know. The Young Turks had a whole thing about guys wearing underwear or not.
Young Turks.
You ever watched? That's a great video, YouTube channel.
Never heard of it.
Oh, they have some cool
There's
stuff.
there's like a song or something. Isn't that a Rod Stewart song?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's where I've heard it from.
Yeah, it's either Young Turks or Young something, I
think it's Young Turks.
the video, the YouTube channel
Young
is the Young Turks.
Da, da, tonight. Dun, 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 dun. All right.
Young Hearts. Young Hearts Be Free Tonight.
Oh.
What you're thinking of.
Yeah, that's not
Young
Rod Stewart.
Hearts Be Free Tonight.
Hold on.
See, and if I sing, it's going to scare everybody away from our podcast. We will never get an audience. We should probably
Don't
decide
agree.
if we're going to podcast.
You're singing at the beginning.
I know, but it's different. So
Life's hard.
we should decide
How
if
come Firefox won't show?
maybe because this won't let it come up with it while we're recording.
Such bullshit. How am I supposed to look stuff up while we talk?
Well, we could always pause the recording for a second.
No, that's not acceptable. We're gonna have to have a separate computer then.
Yeah, well, I can bring a laptop in. We definitely need to be able to look at stuff. And actually, what we should do, if we set this up right, we'd have like face-to-face tables with each of us would have our laptops, and then we have the production guy who's handling all the recording stuff.
Right, which would still be us for now. See, I can call it up that way.
That's weird. Apparently, it just wouldn't pop up. So, no, I wasn't. The Young Turks though. Oh, you can't bring them up there. Oh my gosh.
See, it is a song.
Oh, Young. Yeah, okay.
I don't know how
But
it
it's
goes.
not that one though, right? It's. Well, I guess we'll find out, huh? Are we gonna be able to hear it? It's gonna play right through our speakers.
Hopefully, it's not gonna blast us, break our eardrums. That's what I'm worried
The
about.
ad will. Oh, we can hear it. But it won't record it. We can hear it, but it won't record it.
Yeah, well,
No.
it's recording something.
No. See, watch. Hello. Hello. That's a separate channel. That's feeding back to us.
Oh. Well, we'll just have to sing it then.
I mean, we could take that and mix it in, but not real time.
Yeah. We'll fix it in post. Our answer to everything. The,
It's a good video.
very 70s, 80s dance moves. They all look like they're on Fame.
That's why I am the way I am. I grew up with that.
That's why you wear sleeveless shirts and go around like shaking from side to side, running through the streets with your arms waving.
Exactly.
I'm like a fistful of
And this-
sand. It is.
And this is why I never learned to fight. Because I watched these videos where they just chased each other back and forth in the street. And I thought that's how it was done, so. Well, it always sounded like Young Hearts.
He said Young Hearts. You're right. You're right on the lyric, but it's the same song. It's called Young Turks, though.
Right.
Alright, well, now that we've solved that mystery.
Well, anyway, the Young Turks did a video segment on when what's his name now? Damn it, I got a name. Kravitz, Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz apparently did a concert. You could add Lenny Kravitz to that, and you'll get the actual video. He did a concert where his pants split open, and his genitals just popped out because he had no underwear on. So it's actually pretty funny.
And this is because the producer of the podcast doesn't wear any underwear? The fictitious
no,
producer that you created?
The girl on The Young Turks.
Lenny Kravitz's junk fell out on stage.
Yep, that's it. So the girl says she was kind of happy it happened because she wanted to see his penis. And then the guy says, what I want to know is why wasn't he wearing underwear? Like, doesn't ever... And then she's like, a lot of guys don't wear underwear. And then they couldn't find anybody in the control room who didn't wear underwear. But then she's like, well, it's just because you won't say you don't wear underwear, but you actually don't. You know, it's like, wait a minute, guys wear underwear. Like, I mean, you know, it's not comfortable for the most part to not wear underwear.
We're pausing that. That's annoying. But I wear underwear usually. There are occasions where I don't.
Yeah, it'd be pretty rare for me
reasons.
to not wear underwear. I mean, it'd be really rare because I just wouldn't be comfortable with things dangling.
Yeah. Like when I have my swimming trunks on, I don't wear underwear.
Okay, that's sort of like hyper underwear. But when I'm wearing jeans, you know, I don't want stuff just falling all over the place.
Exactly. I actually thought about this the other day. I was in invention mode, and I thought, if I just invent a little bag with an elastic top that you can just put down there.
They have them.
To keep your junk out of the way. You wouldn't really need underwear.
Right.
Because really the only thing that I want the underwear to do is hold that stuff up so that when I sit or walk or whatever...
It doesn't get pinched somewhere.
It doesn't get pinched or smushed or...
Yeah. Yeah, because that hurts.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and then you get a funny look on your face. You're sitting down at the conference table in a meeting with the board, and you're like...
Yeah, I don't usually have
board meetings.
Yeah.
Well, you can get them for free.
I try to stay away from the board.
Well, I mean, like if
I have a meeting with the board, it's because I'm about to be fired.
I'm a volunteer on the board, so it's not like there's any particular high bar for entry. You know, you just join the board. Well, you have to wear show a suit? That you're. Oh gosh, no.
Oh, cool.
Swimsuit maybe, but yeah, I mean it's.
Then that defeats the whole purpose of wearing underwear.
Right, but. But yeah, I mean, you just don't want to get that look. All the guys in the room would know. They'd be like, he's not wearing underwear because he just pinched his balls in between the seam of his jeans.
Or his underwear suck.
Yeah, well.
I mean, that happens sometimes. Like, if they just get old and wear out, I've had that happen.
Yeah. Oh, I can hear footsteps.
If I wear briefs, then, like, the insides itch. Like, boxer briefs are the best thing they ever invented. Because they don't rub me in my groin.
Right. They just keep things where they're supposed to be.
Exactly. And they rub the hair off my legs, which is fine.
You lose hair from your underwear?
Absolutely. You don't?
No, not.
I have bald spots on my legs, like around.
Well, no, see, I don't wear boxers. And where my underwear do cover, like I'm mostly shaved, so maybe just wouldn't know.
Well, I mean, even if I were shaved, that it wouldn't rub that part off. It's just where it connects with your skin, where the elastic is.
Oh, I got you right at the opening. Okay. Well, I don't know. I haven't noticed any loss of hair right around the bikini line.
But I'd rather it irritate me halfway down my leg than irritate me in my groin.
Right.
Because that's irritating.
Well, you can always take it to the extreme and get those long underwear where it irritate you down at the ankle.
Right, and then when I wear shorts in the summertime, it'll be awesome.
That would be a fashion statement.
There you go.
You would definitely be setting some trends with that.
I would look awesome. I'd wear some sandals and some long johns under my shorts in 90-degree weather.
Yeah, board shorts.
No top. No shirt.
That would be crazy. Actually,
big bandana.
I could top that one. You've got the long underwear, the board shorts, and then you've got like a bikini Speedo over the top of the board shorts.
There you go.
You've got like this whole layering getting shorter and shorter as you go up.
Yes, cameo thing going on.
Yeah, I think that would be just stellar.
With a big cod piece that had like LED lights in it and, flashed.
And a dial on the front that went to 11.
Right. Little arrow. Attention! Attention!
I was thinking something important before we got completely, totally sidetracked. I have no idea what
We were trying to talk about the flat earth. Well,
no, I was more recently than that. I was just thinking of fashion statements about, wearing crazy clothes. But, wow, that got off That got totally out of hand. I got a feeling that we're not going to be able to sell this story.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah, well, we'll have to discount it. It's going to be a discount story.
I'm telling you, we just give it away for free.
Well, that's discounted. That's.
I'm talking about all of them.
No,
but anybody should be able to.
I mean, they're all free.
How do you discount free?
We have a price on every podcast. You don't have to pay it. We just put at the beginning a price tag in the video.
A video?
Well, I'm thinking eventually we're going to be YouTubing. I'm just saying. But yeah, if we go on YouTube, we just put a thing that says, life is hard with a big old, No, not that. I'm picturing like some, old boards with some bent nails and stuff.
Hi, my name's Life.
and I'm hard. Or at least I was when we started this idea, but it's getting softer and softer as we go on.
That's why I don't wear underwear.
Don't need it. Everything stays right where it's supposed to be. Front and center. At attention. Stop with the Viagra already. Okay.
Or I can just name him Life. Hi, have you met Life? Life is hard.
Or not.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to name him Life.
Tell your wife. Oh, God. This is really going downhill. Are we going to get back to the flat Earth?
Would you like some of the fruit of life?
I'm thinking I'm going to join the Flat Earth Society. I'm just going to go sign up because at this point, it couldn't get any worse.
All right, so Flat Earth.
Yes.
Right. For whoever doesn't know what we're talking about, I just found out about it yesterday. Apparently, there's a society of people that believe, seriously, they say right on there, it's not a joke, that the Earth is flat, which blew my mind that anybody in 2015, much less, however long it's been since we knew that the Earth was round, would still think this way. And you could write them off as conspiracy theory nuts because they talk about how the pictures of Earth from space are all doctored and
and the satellites don't actually go round and round, they just hover up there.
It's unreal. But as a person who believes certain conspiracy theories myself, I feel it would be unfair to them to just completely write it off. So I'm actually trying to contemplate the validity of a flat Earth. And according to them, the Earth is disc-shaped. It's still round.
Well, it would have to be. Otherwise, you have to really doctor the photos.
It's just not a sphere. It is
like
a two-dimensional circle.
So why, when things are going off in the distance, do they go down below the horizon?
I don't know. And I don't know their answer to that.
Well, that's what they would be.
I read a whole bunch of stuff, and in the FAQ is like, well, can you explain this and how that and blah, 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 blah. But
how does gravity work?
In giving it, I think they say that one of the things it says is there are multiple flat Earth theories, and they don't all agree.
I would hope not, seeing as they're all
some of them
made up.
Some of them don't believe in gravity at all.
Oh, there is no gravity. Okay.
Right. Other ones talk about something else weird. And basically, the sun, the way they explain the sun is it kind of operates in a spiral. Well, first of all, I have to back up. The layout of the circle that is the Earth is that the North Pole is at the center.
And the South Pole spans the whole edge.
The South Pole, exactly, is Antarctica, is the wall that keeps everything from falling off of the Earth.
Of course.
And keeps the oceans back.
Why didn't I think of that?
So, here's my thought. I read their stuff, or at least perused their stuff, enough to say that basically what they're saying is, this seems flat. Therefore, we're not going to discount our sense of what is flat and start off with the assumption that our senses are correct. It seems flat, therefore, it's flat. They start talking about curvature, like how surveyors never account for the curvature of the Earth when they're measuring distance or any of this stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
just
I just
let's give it a little bit of legitimacy for a minute.
the Earth is very large.
Okay, but here's the question that it seems to me where they could not explain this to me sufficiently to convert me. And that is, if I believe the Earth is spherical, right, then I have to realize or buy in that what appears to be flat to me is actually curved.
Why does it appear flat? If you're on the ocean and you're watching something go away, it goes around over the hill.
But if I'm walking down the street, it's flat.
If the street's long enough,
Well,
if you're out in the desert and you got a long road,
yeah,
that
and
road
plus,
bends
yeah,
over.
I know, but there's also hills and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
but if you're looking at a radio tower that's 150 feet tall, that's not accounted for by a few hills. As you go away from it, you can see it go over the horizon. and
right.
disappear.
Well, and I agree with you, but I'm just saying, what we feel is flat
right.
is really curved. So here's my issue. Then, if I'm gonna believe that the Earth is a disk theory, then if I walk in a straight line from, let's say, New York and head due east. Is it east?
There would
Yeah,
be no
due east. Across
There's
the
no
ocean.
south. South is all directions because you hit the South Pole, regardless of which way you go.
Well, but that's what I'm saying is if I walked in a straight line, I would not hit the South Pole in reality. If I could go completely straight
Right,
across, I would go from New York to like
If you walked
Spain
on
or
a
somewhere.
latitudinal line, latitudinal line.
Right. So then what I have to buy is that what I believe to be straight is actually curved. So it's the same thing. You know, they're
Yeah.
saying, oh, don't believe that what you think is flat is actually curved, but believe what you think is actually straight is curved. That's
Yeah.
retarded.
Well, it is completely
Well,
retarded because you can't.
I shouldn't say it's retarded. It's contradictory to what they're trying to get me to believe. If you walked in a straight line from anywhere in their scenario, you would hit Antarctica.
Every aviator on the planet and everybody who's ever gone 6 miles up in an airplane would have to be in on this conspiracy. Because all this stuff becomes painfully obvious when you're flying around the planet. Even for distances of, a couple thousand miles, it's still clear that you're not always going to hit the South Pole. You can fly around, you can fly over the South Pole. You can see that the South Pole does not span the outside of the disk. People on the South Pole would never be able to reach the edge of the South Pole because they would just continue to go around the edge of a disk. There's so many people that would have to be part of this conspiracy.
Right.
That have to be lying to us. And the photographs, and the satellites, how do you put a satellite in orbit? You can't account for any of that stuff. If you understand how an orbit works, that the satellite's basically falling around the planet, you can't explain any of it. The disk theory just doesn't work. And even Columbus, almost cussed again, Columbus knew that the Earth
It's
was
working
round.
you up, isn't it?
It's the coffee, I think.
You said they were nice people.
What, the Flat Earth Society?
Yeah. You said they were on the cutting edge of science, and they were very nice people.
Yeah, we like to use them as an example of pseudoscience.
Have you met anybody in the Flat Earth Society? Is there
No,
anybody you ever known?
Unless I know somebody who joined just as a joke, which I have some friends who would do something like that.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm not aware of. I could see maybe Jan being in the Flat Earth Society.
I could get us an interview with, MJ, my stepson, is the one who brought this up. I'll have to maybe delete his name if we're using pseudonyms here. But anyway, he brought it up because somebody he plays this Wednesday game with was bringing it up. And it sounded kind of to me like he was just trying to play devil's advocate to, prey upon your preconceptions. More alliteration there just for you.
personally think that's the only way anybody could. You said that the website says it's not a joke, but I'm convinced the only people who would think it wasn't a joke would be people who flat would not leave their apartment and sat there and denied every piece of information that came to them.
The FlatEarthSociety.org.
Yes, of course. They're probably a non-profit. Not necessarily by choice.
So you can donate to them. Tax-free! Donate to
Yeah.
the Flat Earth Society.
I don't believe in taxes.
Help us prove the Earth is flat.
I belong to the Flat Tax Society.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind a consumption tax, but then we're on a totally different podcast.
That's true. We'll have to save that for later. I can do a consumption
Here's
tax.
their picture.
Isn't that awesome?
Not the only picture. It's basically, for those of you that can't see it, it would be like if you were looking directly down on the top of a globe and take that as a 2D image.
And that's where they got it from.
Well, except they have the southern hemisphere in there too.
Yeah, well,
You'd have to unroll the bottom half of the globe.
But whenever they make a map, they have to flatten the globe, and so you get these weird distortions. And I wouldn't be surprised if they use some of those. Like if I show you a flat map from my atlas, you'll see that
You have an atlas?
Oh, I've got tons of maps.
Look, they have a podcast.
They have a podcast.
If they can, if the Flat Earth Society can have a podcast, there is no way in hell that we can't have it.
Is it hard for them as it is for us?
Well, life is hard. They're part of life, I imagine.
I don't know. This Flat Earth Society sort of defies all.
History and mission.
They don't believe in history or mission.
Their mission is to change history.
I don't know. All I know is when the a satellite's orbit is decaying and it's coming in, skipping across the atmosphere and sliding, and it's like all these things are impossible if you just say the Earth is flat. Nothing works.
The mission of the Flat Earth Society is to promote and initiate discussion of flat Earth theory as well as archive flat Earth literature.
Yeah.
Our forums act as a venue to encourage free thinking and debate because it's very conformative thinking.
To think the Earth is round, as a sphere.
Yes. You follower.
Yeah.
You non-free thinker.
Well, you have a point there. I mean, I've done some exploring on my own to convince myself that it's round. But for the most part, I just took what they told me in high school and I accepted it.
I'm still having a hard time wrapping my brain around it.
No, I really think you have to be super ignorant. Just super ridiculously...
Well, I mean, I'm even susceptible to conspiracy theories, and this is just crazy.
Well, like I said, everybody'd have to be in on it. I mean, all of NASA, everybody. There would have to be like the biggest conspiracy ever known. That half the planet knew that the Earth was flat and didn't want to tell us, and the other half believed it was round because, it's like almost everybody would know. It would just be, you couldn't be a polar explorer, you couldn't be NASA, you couldn't be anything, you couldn't put GPS satellites up, you couldn't do anything without knowing the Earth was flat if it was flat.
Here's another question I have. If it's disc-shaped like they say, why in the world would the center and the outer ring be frozen?
Well, yeah, that makes no sense either. And it's the tilt of the Earth, this slope away from, again, a round planet that causes the seasons.
Well, they have an explanation for the seasons.
Sure, they make stuff up.
Well,
but
yeah.
None of it would make sense.
It's
none of it
that
actually...
the sun moves in a spiral. It starts at the center point, and it gradually makes a wider and wider and wider circle until it gets to the end, and then it reverses and comes back.
Which would make no sense in any... there's nothing that would cause that mass to make that sort of motion. You'd have to have some rocket engine attached to the sun that was...
I totally agree, but I'm just saying it doesn't make any sense that the outer ring and the innermost point would be frozen while the middle part
was very hot.
Is hot enough to sustain life.
Well, in some places it's equatorial. It's like really hot. Panama, 104 degrees all the time and humid.
Right.
So, Well, you were starting to say that like it was a conspiracy theory, and my point is simply that it would have to be the most ludicrous, ridiculous
and pointless.
Conspiracy.
And
Yeah.
what
Why would
to
you try
what
to convince,
end?
Yeah. Why would you try to convince people the Earth was round when really it was flat? And obviously, people would discover this at some point. Somebody would do exactly what you're talking about. They would just take a ship and they would sail in some direction. And when they hit Antarctic, they'd be like, "Wait a minute!" And they turn around and sail the other way, and they hit the Antarctic going the other way, and they'd be like, "Wow, it's a disc, and I can't get off."
Right.
You know?
It's like what's the name of that movie?
Oh,
the Truman,
the 13th floor is what I'm thinking of.
The Truman Show with Jim Carrey.
I don't know. The 13th floor, you could go to the end of the simulation.
Yeah, well, you were telling me about that the other day. But Jim Carrey had one, The Truman Show, where he grew up in like a perfect town, waved high, and life was like the same over and over and over and over again. It wasn't hard, no. Okay. It was a great life.
That would definitely be a conspiracy.
But things started happening that made him start questioning why everybody was happy all the time and why things were the same all the time. And he started to push the boundaries, and he ended up discovering that the whole time his life was a television program that was the most popular TV show in history.
It was scripted.
And well, except for him.
Oh,
he was unscripted. All the other people in his life were actors, his neighbors, his parents, his employers, the whole thing. And he, at one point, got on a boat and sailed to the edge of the horizon, and it's like this majestic music, and he's sailing off into the sunset, and he hits a wall.
It's the drawing of the sky.
Right, exactly. And then he walks up the steps and goes through the door, into the real world.
Yeah, and talks to the production people.
Yeah.
And they don't like him that much. They're like, "Hey."
Oh, it was the best episode. It was the most popular episode because he actually discovered. No.
I see. It was most popular to the rest of the world.
Yes. They all cheered for him as he discovered that he was
living in a fake.
Right.
Oh, God. That's an interesting concept.
It's a weird movie. It's a good movie, though.
I don't know that the worst thing that could happen to you, though, would be growing up in a movie set where everything was scripted and perfect and awesome.
Probably not.
Because you'd probably have a beautiful girlfriend, and she'd probably do things that we can't talk about on this podcast.
We can talk about anything on this podcast.
Really?
Why not?
Oh, I don't want to get too far-fetched here.
Maybe, actually, we might have to check that before we put podcasts on YouTube.
Well, we can use innuendo, though. That's the thing. We can just sort of imply that this girlfriend would be the ideal girlfriend.
The top 10 reasons why we know the Earth is round, debunked.
Oh, no. Oh, no. What about the top 100 reasons? I'd like to see all those.
Yeah. The top 1.5 million.
Yeah.
Reasons.
And the top 1,000 explorers who've explored the poles and flown around the globe. And we've got the solar plane that's flying around the planet. How does that work when it's a disc? You fly to an edge, turn around, and fly back?
Well, and what's the probe thingy that we sent up not too long ago that's sending back pictures of Saturn and Pluto and all that? I mean, why would they be spherical and ours isn't? Of course, I'm sure they'll say that's a conspiracy
that's
too.
Why I said it would have to be the biggest conspiracy ever. Like even Columbus was in on this conspiracy. So since the end of the 1400s, everybody's been agreeing to lie about the shape of the planet.
Well, speaking of other planets being round, this is the number 1 top 10 reason why we know Earth is round debunked. 1. Other planets are round. According to flat Earth theory, the Earth and other planets are not really the same type of celestial body. To put it another way, which I'm sure everyone everywhere will take offense to, the Earth is different.
Yeah, okay.
2. Time zones. This is the first of a trend in this video. I don't know where the video is, but because it's words.
Oh, they're probably debunking stuff from the video that was picking on the Flat Earth Society.
Oh, okay. In which Henry the host of Minute Physics, for those not subscribed, assumes that the flat Earth is exactly the same as the round Earth in every way except for shape. The sun works in a manner similar to a spotlight in flat Earth theory, which is why time zones exist. When the sun isn't pointing overhead, it's nighttime.
Oh my god. These people are not serious.
Like taking science back.
These people are not
thousands
serious.
of years.
These people are not
The
serious.
Coriolis effect? I don't even know.
I want to know
what that
how
is.
the Earth would have formed. I'm sure this is the same people that believe in creationism. Because the Earth couldn't have formed as a celestial body if it formed flat. It wouldn't form as a disk. As it collects dust and spinning, it's going to make a ball. So it's a natural shape of...
If it's spinning, maybe it doesn't spin.
Well, but...
The Earth is different.
Yeah, it would have to be very different.
Alright, here's yours. The horizon. This is just a perspective effect. First of all, apparently large waves will obscure apparently small objects. Therefore, looking out long distances over water, you will of course be unable to see land on the other side.
Because of large waves.
In addition, refraction has an effect. Some flat earthers theorize an electromagnetic acceleration which appears to bend light upward.
Okay. So that's why when I'm standing in France, I can't look across the Statue of Liberty.
Correct.
Because the Statue of Liberty is much taller than any of the waves in between.
I assume.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, with a good telescope, I should be able to see almost everything on the planet. If it's tall.
Right.
And I get up on a high vantage point.
Right.
I should be able to just look out. I should be able to see the Himalayas from the mountain in Alaska that's the tallest mountain.
Right. You can go to the top of the Eiffel Tower and see the Empire State Building.
Exactly.
Or the Sears Tower.
Yeah.
You'd probably see them all in a row.
It
would look like one giant, massive building.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it works that way.
Eclipses are caused by the sun going behind the moon or vice versa. It's that simple.
Yeah, it's that simple.
I wonder if they think the sun or the moon is round.
Well,
like spherical.
I mean, the moon
round.
has to be round because you can see the sun when the sun shines on the moon from the side. That's why you get the crescent.
Right.
If it were flat, you would get either like full light or partial light. You'd never get a crescent. You might get an oval if you're looking at it from an angle, but you're not going to get a crescent. You're not going to get that.
You can get a crescent if the...
No. Because the light hits it or doesn't hit it. Like when it turns far enough that the light... Let me look at this light. Like when I turn away from it, it just goes away when it comes on. You wouldn't get a globe look. I mean, the globe has... I mean, a basketball in a light has a specific way it catches the light.
Right.
That's why you have to play basketball on a court. A flat court, by the way.
Right. Photographic evidence. Most photographic evidence actually demonstrates what we could expect to see on a disc-shaped flat Earth. A circle with little to no apparent curvature. Add in camera distortion, and that's our explanation for low Earth photos. Mm-hmm. As for photos like the famous blue marble, that the space agencies of the world are involved in a conspiracy is depressingly obvious if you look at the evidence.
Yes, the space agencies would have to be involved in this conspiracy theory because they would clearly have the perspective of seeing whether the Earth was round or a disc. You just fly around to the side of it, you look at it and go, oh, look, it's flat. That would be the ultimate point of view, right?
Yeah, I mean, show me a flat picture. Show me a...
Well, all pictures are flat.
No, I mean...
Oh, from the edge. Looking at it from the edge. Well, they're never going to show us that because they're part of the conspiracy.
Again, to what end would this conspiracy...
Yeah, that's my point.
I mean,
you can't.
I believe in a lot of conspiracies. 9/11 was an inside job, okay? I believe that. But there's a reason why. Because they wanted to dupe us into creating another war, of course.
Well, yeah, there's tons of money involved. You're talking about $1 trillion.
Right. But what...
I will buy any conspiracy when someone's going to make $1 trillion on it. But what would you benefit by lying about the shape of the Earth? Like, do you pay more taxes because the Earth is round versus if it was flat? If it was flat, we'd all be like, oh, well, we can get by cheaper. We don't have to have vacuum cleaners anymore.
This is just crazy.
It is. It's totally insane. And I got a feeling that many people on this site do it for the sheer fun of trolling and coming up with crazy explanations.
Or trying to break the mind of people like my stepson, who could not necessarily argue back. You know, they could go down the litany of, here you're prepared against the top 10 arguments, just say this. And then they'll run out of reasons why they think Earth is round. And then they'll go, wow, maybe it is flat.
That, and they start to think, the only reason I know it's round is because I've been told that it's round.
Right.
So now all of a sudden, oh my God, I don't like authority figures, and they're telling me that they're lying to me about the shape of the planet.
I don't like authority figures either.
Right, but when you're a kid, you don't necessarily have the experience to back up what they've told you. And I think that's what it is. You have to have the experience. None of this would fly if you flew. This would fly with people who live in eastern Kentucky and have never left the county they grew up in.
Well, now that is just offensive.
I know it is. But
there went all our listeners in eastern Kentucky.
I know. But who?
My stepdaughter's going to be in eastern Kentucky.
Who would?
I guess, wherever Lexington is.
I mean, like somebody who, was born in...
He didn't mean that. Eastern Kentucky, you're fine.
Yes. Someone who was born in Baltimore and then went to the Rocky Mountains for, maybe went to Colorado for school, and they climbed up to the top of a mountain and they looked out to see if they could see their hometown, would go, huh.
I'm trying to figure out who's in it. They tell me who founded it. I want to know a member list.
Yeah, I don't know if any of my friends are members. I got a feeling I have a couple friends who would be audacious enough to join just for the sheer joy of it. Not that they would believe it for a second. They have
a Facebook page.
I saw something today that the smartest person in the world, who scored the highest score you can get on a Mensa test, had an IQ of 174.
Okay. What does that mean?
That's only 12 points above mine. That's not even possible. Like, I had a friend.
I don't even know what mine is.
I had a friend
who's in the
whose
140s, I think.
Yeah, it's probably higher than that. It depends on what kind of test you take, because you have really, really, really great creative intelligence. You may not be good at solving mathematical problems or spatial problems, but I don't know. I mean, as a musician, I think you're probably super good at it. So but anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, I think I have a friend who's like scored way above that. I think like 190 on school.
Maybe the guy took a different test.
The guy was unbelievably brilliant. Yeah, well, maybe I saw this and I don't know. There was no. I didn't look it up. I didn't.
It's a conspiracy.
I didn't fact check it. It could have been just somebody spouting off. Because it was like they were talking about Bill Gates' son or daughter, Bill Gates' offspring, anyway.
Life is hard.
Oh my God, is that still recording?
It could be worse.
Of course, we've been recording the whole time.
Life is hard. But it could be worse. Life is hard. But it could be worse. Life is hard. But it could be worse.